let's get started. I got a piece of cherry, and the main thing here is as we start this out, we have to get the layout correctly. So that means both ends need to be nice and straight. So we're going to come across, we're going to put this diagonal on, corner to corner. Make sure you compensate for the thickness of the pencil. You can do the same thing on this side. A couple things you could do on this. One, you could pre-drill your block of wood in that center. I don't really like to drill too much. You could put a nice vacuum chuck on there. A lot of people go through and they start using screw chucks. I'm getting past where I don't like a screw chuck. And I found out that somebody showed me that you could just butt it up right against your fence, your jaws, and it works out real nice. Again, speed off, turn it on. We want this to move slow. Check. Make sure you spin it beforehand. Safety, safety, safety. I'm going to turn the speed up just a little bit. Again, on the calipers, you kiss it, bring it out to that matches. I know that matches my jaws that I'm going to be using. Here I'm just opening up for the jaws. Again, we want somewhat flat for those jaws. And it is a dovetail jaw, so I'm going to cut a little bit of a dovetail on that. So I've established both openings now. The reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure that both sides are exactly the same. So if you drill one, you're going to have to cut the other one so they're exact. So comes the fun part. I'm going to come across in here, and I'm going to establish my circle. Now I put 3 rings in here. One, this is going to start to arc across. So I know this first one isn't going to work. The second one definitely not going to work. The third one's going to work. So that's where we established our canteen size now and where we're going. But the nice thing is make sure those are nice and dark, because you literally can see them while you're turning. Again, the better you center things, the better everything lays out. So now we established, I like this as the bottom. We're going to put a tendon here. We're not so worried about it here because we're going to drill through. We need to grab that afterwards. I'm starting to use more and more of the 40-40 grind because it is definitely very easy to use. Easy to sharpen, and I find showing novice wood turners a 40-40 grind, they can learn faster wood turning and make it more enjoyable. So there's a lot of advantages to it. I still have my fingernail grinds because I like the sheer planing of that, but this is pretty darn comfortable and it really works good for this demo. So as this is spinning, I literally could see the circle. So now we just follow the circle. Then cutting your corners first. Left foot to right foot. Tool on my hip. Again, speed is what you feel comfortable with. Take it to where you feel uncomfortable and turn it up a little more. So now I'm going to start practicing my circle here. I got my line that comes across. I'm going to take that circle, the second circle, and start working my form to follow that line. So you can see I pretty much followed the second line, but we still have a flat here. No, we got rid of it. Okay. So you can see that we can pretty much follow that second line right there. So we're going to clean that up and just follow that line. So I'm not going uphill, I'm going downhill on the grain. This will really make you float your tool. So that's that thing where they say, rub the bevel. You can't rub a bevel when you have a big void. Again, I'm switching from right foot to left foot. So we slightly off-centered our piece. So we're going to have a little bit of grief on that, but not too far off. And we're pretty close in here. I need to get a little bit off in this area. Here where you see it kind of kicks into there. So we're just going to make one final cut there. Across here, and I'm going to set up for my chuck. I'm going to give it a little more. It is a dovetail chuck, so I got a slight dovetail on that. I want to make sure that shoulder's nice and square, so it draws in there. Establish the thickness of my base. Remember, always shut off your lathe before you start moving your tool rest. Now we're going to establish the neck of the piece. I'm going to be putting a 3/4 inch hole in here. So I want the diameter of this to be about 1 inch. As much as that looks pretty good, we can deal with the fact of we're going to V-notch it just a little. Again, work it so the tool goes downhill. Let this one come downhill. A little bit of a chip out in there. I'm going to switch over to jaws because I'm going to start cutting the rest of that off. Slightly loose. Bring your tailstock back up. Make sure you're good and centered. It fit perfect. Give it a little tighten on that. Then tighten your jaws up. I had some chipping right here, so we need to clean that up. So now we start looking back into where the design is going to be. How far do we want this to come up? Kind of look at it proportionately. Remember, we're going to have a cap on this, so I'm probably going to lose just a little more and bring this down right about to there. And then when the cap gets on it, I think it'll look pretty good. Plus, when I'm drinking it, it won't get in the way. We use this 40/40 grind because you can make it cut really nice and clean right there. And I'm going to work just a little bead in there. You're going to sand a radius. It's hard sanding with flat sandpaper, so make a ball or any type of rod in there to make that work. I got a 3/4 inch Forstner bit. If you notice, if I take the whole drill in, it goes quite a bit. I need to be at least there, so I need to get about that deep into it. We slow down the drill. So we locked in. Now I want to open this up just a little bit in here. Again, we're going to be, I'm just doing a straight cut. So now for the base. Part of the design that comes in here, and I'll show you on this one, is you start cutting your radius down on this. You start getting real thin there. This one's a little thicker, so then you have a little more space here. But you also have to be concerned about your base. If you leave your base wide, when you start cutting your arcs, you're going to be cutting into your base. So you kind of have to determine, you need that little bit of V-notch in there on your base to make sure that when you start slicing your radiuses on your sides, you have enough room. So right now I have no base in here. This one's got plenty. I can take this down a good 1/4 inch over here or a little better, so I need to get that kind of straightened around. So I'm just going to work my little V-notch in here. Kind of liking that look. Yep, we'll keep it simple. I'm going to use my parting tool skew. Except that one moves a little bit. So here we are, we have an establishment in here, so I'm going to bring this down to about here. It's going to bring it over and kind of give you a nice little look. I don't want to, or I could bring it a little closer, but that's where we want to hit on that line. Starting over, we're going to knock the corner. Again, we're going downhill on the grain. The grain right now is going this way. So if we go uphill, we're going to start cutting into the fibers. We're going downhill on this, so we have supported grain. Eighth inch away from there. Looks pretty good. I like that. Nice shape. Quick sand. I got to stay away from the foot. Now a little bit of embellishment on this. Again, if we're too close to the edge, we're going to pick up more distractions. So we want to stay somewhat away from that. Again, these D-Way tools are really nice. So I'm going to go with a nice wide one. I'm rocking it back and forth, making the cuts. I can see there's still a flat on the circle. I got it. I'm going to go with the smaller one here. Make sure I match it. Then they have this nice little tear point. We're going to hit that. Blend them in. Then we have our surface. And you notice that we're slightly off. Our bottom's a little thicker in here. This could be done by sanding a little bit. And again, you could adjust that by sanding, but actually the arc is in there. Start at the corner, downhill. If you notice, I'm still moving my body, not the tool. I'm looking at the distance here and here, and the same thing here. We want these balanced out. Don't make one thicker than the other, fall over or something. It's off the tool. It's off the machine, I should say. We'll cut our pattern. Big one first. Notice that I measured to make sure it was exactly the way it was on the other side. Okay, hollowing out. So at this point, we've established our outside boundaries. We have this big opening here that we can blow through. We can hollow it out, use hollowing tools, all that good stuff. I'm going to cheat a little bit because we're short on time. It comes down to Trent Bosch. Everybody kind of does hollowing different ways. But Trent Bosch, when he figures a bowl, he hollows down first and then cleans up the outside. I'm going to be doing the same way. Now, the big thing about hollowing, bigger the tool, the more grab you have. So that's why it kind of comes down to these nice little 1/4-inch round noses for hollowing. Work out really well. So we're going to hollow out. I'm going to establish my depth in there, then I'll hollow out the rest. I'm establishing an arc in here. And just base, set your base, set your angle. And cut it on out. Takes about 2 seconds to measure. Don't be afraid to. It'll make your pieces a whole lot better. We have about 3/8 of an inch. I don't know if anybody's used these before. Basically, if you line up, make sure your points hit. So whatever reads here should read there, so you can see your thickness. Also remember, I have a recess on the back side, so you don't want to go too thin. So at this point in time, I got it hollowed out. Center is in here. I got some tear out in here that I don't like. We'll play with that when we do a cleanup. So at this point in time, I'm going to cheat. This is Trent Bosch's hollowing system. The nice thing about it, it doesn't allow you to have chatter. Notice that my tool is chattering on me. This sets up, I don't even have to put a handle on this because it's a small piece, but this forces out and makes everything look really nice and easy. So all of a sudden, I'm not even struggling anymore. So right there you start to see the dust fly. That's because it hit the hole. And all the dust was running out the spigot here. I'm close on this side here. Fine. So let's see, let's finish this up. Where are we on thickness? This way. About 3/4. Okay. I'm looking at two things here. I can look down this hole, and I can see where my shoulder is on this side. and it's pretty much flush on this side where this one's in a 1/4 inch, so I just need to thin out that back wall a little more. And it really doesn't matter how thick you are or anything along those lines. Last time I checked, nobody could really see inside those. Famous last words, one more cut. Okay, so we're hollow. When you're using those hollow jigs, and I don't know, you just basically feel. I wasn't looking in there or anything along those lines. It's more of a feel. You can feel the ridges. On that small cutter, you're not going over a whole lot of distance, so you could feel the ridges. And again, it comes down to like floating instead of rubbing your bevel real hard. So you have to start to learn to float. So we're in here. This space is just a little bit still for my saw. I'm going to clean that up just a little bit with the sander. I do have a step here. I'm going to clean that step up. And basically, we already have this established. And again, you don't need the step there. I'm just going to leave it there. We got to make plugs for that now. Again, you can put this through spur centers. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. I say if you can do it on jaws, why not? So we're here. We're going to round this out a little bit. Wow. This looks like East Indian rosewood. It had a really nice burrow pattern to it. Couldn't tell you, but that's what it is. Oh, there she goes. So I put a slight taper on the end. And if you rub it, you can make a witness mark. So by putting the chamfer on there, it's only going to go so far, and you can make a witness mark on it. It allows you to tell you where your thickness is. I'll live with that. We're going to have a nice little piece on there. So we're going to come across in here. With that. Spray the hardener on that. Like I said, there's probably different ways of doing this. So again, we have that circle here. We spun it. We make sure we're good. Hopefully the glue holds. Either glue ran through or the the hardener. So just to keep this kind of clean, I'm going to use a diamond point right there. Give it a little look. So we continue on our little oval space. I'll just use the diamond point. You don't need to have that teardrop one. That'll cut that. That'll cut that. Okay, we're going to make a top on this. So, big thing on this, I know you could throw it between spindles and everything along those lines, but I do like jaws. One, it allows me to manipulate it, and I need to cut the end. So, we're back on this spindle here. Again, a rough and gouge would work really nice. By the time I find it, I'm already ready to go. We're going to have a little bit of a dome on that. We work downhill on these. So now we have an opening that fits that. But since it was a 3/4 hole, we got to make sure it fits in there, so we make sure this is nice and smooth. So it fits in. We also need to undercut the top here by quite a bit so it fits into this and lays flat. If you make it too thick, all of a sudden it just looks out of proportion and it doesn't look like a lid. Again, going downhill.
And I don't mind slightly undercutting this.
Sorry. I'm using a chatter tool now. I guess I should have been slower on that. I'm putting the glue on the wood itself, and then the activator on this piece. The thing about Starbond, it's super thin, and look at it, ran all the way through the piece. I didn't think Sherry was that porous. Remove your drill chuck so you don't get blasted. Back to our 40/40 grind. Again, you have a seam right there, so you want to dress it up. And a few little marks in there to make it look pretty. Going to sand it up just a little more. Get off the... I don't care the length. Longer it stays in, shorter it might fall out. I'm going to put a slight chamfer on it. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I would probably go with, lately, those are just sanding sealer and a catalyzed conversion varnish. This one right here, you're going to have to do white oak. The reason why you have to use white oak on these to make these work is white oak, you could do honey locust also. You could do a honey locust. If you take red oak and you take a strip in your end grain, you have a cigarette or smoke, you can blow smoke right through red oak. White oak, as it dries, the pores totally close up. That's why they use it on barrels and on boats and ships and everything along those lines, because it doesn't allow water to pass through it. A 40-40 grind. The question is, what is a 40-40 grind? What you end up doing is your tool is at a 40-degree angle, and your table bed is at a 40-degree angle, and you grind the straight parallel on the edge, and you slowly roll it. And then you start back over here, and you slowly roll it. So it ends up being that grind is at 40 degrees, and your angle is 40 degrees.